Hey, you already know who I am, so I'm going to stop saying who I am. Because if you don't know me by now, then just look up top and look at the name. Well, tonight I want to share with you a reflection. It is day 71 of 365 days of reflection. So I'm sharing my day in hopes to inspire, encourage, and uplift you. Now it's toward the end of the day, and yeah, I'm running out of steam. And the lessons that I've learned today, I think, are worthy of sharing. The first part is the communion. When I wake up in the morning, my first thing is gratitude. I'm grateful for early rising, and then it's to relieve myself and to try and think of what I dreamed about. What did I dream about? And what song is playing in my head? Sometimes I'll have songs playing in my head. Oh, not sure if that happens to you, but and then if there's a certain number that I see, I'll look it up in scripture and see if there's a word from the Lord in that. And then I head down to this space, which is my office for communion. So I take communion, and around the time it's here, it's about 3 a.m. So I take it at 3 a.m. and I take it in a community where there are other like minded people, and we are all there to see and hear from the Lord. Not necessarily see with our eyes, but in the Spirit, just what the Spirit is saying to us. And because I believe there's fresh manna, fresh revelation, something every day. And lately, I've been thinking about what projects I'm working on, and I've been intrigued by the Queen of Sheba and her story on how she was wealthy. She was a queen in her own right. She had her own resources, and yet she was strategic in how she moved and what she sought and what she saw. So just hearing about her story, reading about her story, and just being intrigued about what she had to offer, I thought, this really resonates with me. And I don't know if it resonates with you, but I can see how I align with her story, and maybe you align with her story, how she didn't realize what she already had. And sometimes I think when we look and see other opportunities, other businesses, and other ways that we want to maybe grow and stretch in our own right, it's easy to look, at someone else and say, I wonder how they got there. And I noticed how Queen of Sheba did it. She did it very strategically. She brought gifts to the king. She brought gifts, not gifts so she could get something in return, but gifts to show gratitude for what she knew he already carried, which was wealth. He had, King Solomon was the wealthiest man in the history of the world. And so knowing that she brought all these gifts, she went strategically to show him, I believe, to show him that she had wealth as well in her own right, and she wasn't seeking to get anything from him, to take anything from him. And in return, he provided treasures for her, so much more treasure than she brought. And he gave her something that she didn't come with. She came bearing treasures, but she left with wisdom. She left with wisdom and even more treasures. She was very strategic in how she went about this process, and she had hard questions to ask him. And I think that's one gift that I want to I want to grow in. And I think if you ask difficult questions, hard questions, strategic questions, that's how you learn. That's how you grow. And I think we're ever evolving, ever growing in this process, asking hard questions. And those questions resonated with him to where he answered them. He gave her wisdom by answering her challenging questions. She wasn't there, I don't think, necessarily to impress him, but she was impressed by him. And she evaluated every strategic move that he made, and she saw it in real time, and she responded with what she had in her hand. And she left with so much more. She left with so much more. She didn't hang around to stay. She left where King Solomon was to go build her own. She already had her own, but she wanted to build so much more based on the wisdom that she learned through King Solomon. So that's what I wanted to share with you tonight. I wanted to share that with you tonight. And I was reading, let's see, Proverbs. Today I was reading Proverbs 12. And let's see, I'm going to find the treasures that I found in Proverbs 12 because every time I read it, there's a new revelation. And this time I was reading it in the ESV. So I'm going to find that and find the verses that I highlighted. I typically highlight some verses. So Proverbs 12 and oh yeah, Proverbs 12 is talking about discipline. Discipline. Whoever loves discipline loves knowledge. And just like in the story of the Queen of Sheba, she came and she was disciplined and she left with wisdom and knowledge. She was knowledgeable about what he did with his own kingdom, with his own servants. Um, and then this Proverbs 12 is talking about basically, if you don't love knowledge, if you don't like knowledge, it says you're stupid. If you don't like to be corrected, it says you're stupid. That's pretty much the first verse. Or is it the second? Yeah, first verse. Whoever loves discipline loves knowledge, but he who hates reproof is stupid. That's what it says. And I'm going to end on that note. I want to thank you for listening and ask you to always remember to like, subscribe, and share. And I will see you next time on the other side. All right. Have a good night.